Lewis Hamilton has been very rough on himself lately. The 7-time world champion publicly declared himself as useless.
So what happened in quali?
I'm just useless.
So say again?
I'm just useless.
And quickly followed up by saying that Ferrari should replace him. But the question is, how did it get this bad? In this video, we're going to break down what is actually going on with Lewis Hamilton, both internally and externally. We're going to compare him to Charles Leclerc to see if he's truly doing that bad or not. As you guys know, I'm a Ferrari fan, so I really have no horse in this race, no pun intended. And I'm going to give you my true and honest opinion as always about these words, because it's honestly sad to see a champion, the driver who's broken the most records in Formula 1 history, end up saying words like these. So let's start by seeing the whole picture. I'm going to show you about a 15-second clip of him actually saying this so you can see what he's talking about, and you can draw your own conclusions about this before I give you my opinion.
Say again?
I'm just useless.
But that isn't obviously the case.
It clearly
is.
What?
What?
Just drove terribly.
Did you just not feel comfortable in the car in that part of quali? Did something change?
Nothing changed.
Alright, these comments by Lewis came after quali at the Hungarian GP. Lewis is a driver who's always been tough on himself, and this is nothing new. And I honestly never saw this as a bad thing, because I thought that he used this kind of mentality to get better and constantly challenging himself to be a better driver, which the results show that he is one of the best of all time. Now here's the issue. In the previous months and weeks, he's been criticizing specifically the car at Ferrari, and I think many of us did, because we expected a 7-time world champion to perform a lot better at Ferrari than he has been. Now there's a lot of factors that come into play as to why he's not doing so well, so stick around because I'm going to break them down a little bit later. But the first thing that we always must focus on in Formula 1 is teammates, because that's the only way that you can truly compare how good a driver is. And when we compare Charles and Lewis's results, especially at the Hungarian quali, we see a sharp contrast here. We see Charles who qualified in pole position and then Lewis in P12. Now here's the reality. Lewis quali wasn't that bad. He was out in Q2 by 0.015 seconds. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think he's being a little too harsh on himself. Let's take a quick look at their track record this year so we can truly analyze this. Alright, right here we have Lewis on the left side, Charles on the right side. Let's compare and contrast. The very first race of the year we had it in Australia, and of course we can see that Charles is performing better. Now when you're looking at this, you can't just think, oh, it's a 7-time world champion who is 10th and somebody who hasn't won any championships in 8th place, because Charles Leclerc is an awesome driver, but not only that, he grew up in that Ferrari world. He moved up through the ranks at Ferrari. He is the Ferrari guy, and Lewis Hamilton is having to adapt to a whole new team that speaks a different language, that's headquartered in a different country. We know very well that the vast majority of Formula 1 and Formula 1 ideas and strategy and engineering takes place in England. Well, that's not the case for Ferrari. On top of that, Lewis Hamilton is used to Mercedes engines. Both when he was a Mercedes driver and a McLaren driver, he had a Mercedes power unit. Now all of a sudden he was dealing with the Ferrari world, which is very different. Now we're already halfway through the year, so we have to see if he's made any progress or not. When we look at the results, yes, he is still behind Charles in most of these races, but not by far, and we can clearly see a good improvement here. In my opinion, this shows me that Lewis is being a little too harsh on himself. Now we know the Ferrari curse. I've talked about it so many times. You see a champion go to Ferrari and almost always their dreams are crushed. I think this is exactly what's happening to Lewis, and I said it from the moment he got there. I personally, if I was a Formula 1 driver, I would not do this move, because there's already a track record of drivers who go to Ferrari, and I'm saying this as a Ferrari fan. There's already a track record of great drivers who go to Ferrari and they fail. And the reason why is exactly what I was just explaining. It's a whole new world and it takes time to adapt. And when you go there as a veteran, it's not as easy to adapt to a new team as it is for a rookie or a younger guy. And I think this is exactly what's happening to Hamilton here. And once again, we're looking at the driver standings right now. There isn't that much of a difference between how Hamilton is doing and Leclerc. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, but Hamilton should be definitely outperforming Leclerc because he has a long track record. Yes, but you have to be honest with yourself. Even if you're a Hamilton glazer or a Hamilton hater, which I'm neither of those two, Hamilton is no longer in his prime. I mean, you have an expiration date as an athlete. This happens in every sport. It happens in Formula 1, and we can't expect Hamilton to be as good as he was in his prime. Now, that doesn't mean that he's a bad driver. Hamilton is still one of the best drivers of all time, but you have to be realistic. You can't live in fantasy land. This is the reality. Hamilton is a 40-year-old man. He's no longer 25 or 30 when he was actually in his prime. And on top of that, he decided to make this move to Ferrari that, like I said before, I think it was an error, and now he's suffering the consequences. Now, I've been looking on social media to see what people were thinking about it, like fans like us, not just the media. And the reality is that I've pretty much seen two strong camps, which I personally don't like, which is the people that say either Hamilton fell off, he sucks now, or Hamilton is the GOAT and Hamilton is gonna get out of this. Well, I I think that the reality is somewhere in the middle. Let's take a look. The post is a simple repost basically that shows this interview that he did that I just showed you at the beginning of this video, and let's see what the people are saying about it. I think this comment right here is a great comment. It says, I think the worst part is that he lost faith in himself. That's exactly what I was pointing out. I don't know if he's fully lost faith in himself or he's just being tough on himself and he's going to improve from here. But if it is the case that he lost faith in himself, that is not good at all. In my opinion, I don't think that Lewis completely lost faith in himself. It's more that he's being really tough on himself, perhaps too much. But the reality is that he is seeing how much he is struggling with this car. This other person said him and Charles are so hard on themselves when they don't deliver. I am so effing crap, says Charles in Silverstone over and over. This is true, and it's something that as a Ferrari fan, I'm not happy with. I think it is okay for drivers to be tough on themselves, and they should as elite athletes that they are. But when it gets to this level, it means that they're dealing with too much stress. It's too much on their plate, and it's because there's internal issues at the team. And that's what I've been pointing out from the beginning at Ferrari. Ferrari is a team with perhaps the best driver lineup on the grid. The only ones that I can think of that are truly competitive as a driver lineup to Ferrari is perhaps McLaren, and maybe in a few years Mercedes will be like that because Kimi Antonelli is showing a lot of progress in a very bright future, and Russell is a very good and consistent driver. I always point this out. Now the final comment that I'm going to show you is one that I think is very interesting. This person said, crazy to me that the useless comment is the one circulating when his line about replacing him, in my opinion, is far more noteworthy. And I think this is very important because Lewis is not just saying I failed here, but they should replace me. And honestly, like I said from the very beginning, it sucks to see this from a 7-time world champion. Once again, I'm being very clear. I'm not a Hamilton glazer. I'm not saying this because I love Hamilton or he's my favorite driver of all time. He's not. I like him and he is an awesome driver, but that's about it. The reality is that when you see a professional athlete, regardless of Formula One or anything, say my team should replace me, that's like the lowest of the low a person can go emotionally as an athlete, and it's tough and it's rough to watch. But once again, sometimes an image can say more than a million words. Let me show you one image that we're all familiar with. This picture of Fernando Alonso says the exact same things that Hamilton actually said it out loud. This is a problem that we've been having at Ferrari for decades now, and it's not a leadership problem, it's a cultural problem that we have both as a team and as fans of that team. I think that the classic Ferrari delusional fan meme is funny. I even use it all the time, but the reality is that when you put McLaren expectations, I'm saying the McLaren that we have nowadays, on the Ferrari team, even though Ferrari is number 2, it's nowhere near McLaren. You can't put those expectations because Ferrari historically perhaps has been the best team in Formula 1, but nowadays it's really not. And you can't actually live out these delusions and expect that out of these drivers when the car is not delivering to them. Now Ferrari has made improvements, and we saw Charles definitely get a pole position at the Hungarian quali. I haven't seen the race yet, I'm recording this before that, but it's shown that it's a car that in my opinion is number 2 on the grid. The problem is that we're just comparing 1 and 2 like I said with McLaren, and it's not just 1 and 2. If you look at the points, McLaren has more than double the points that Ferrari has. So no, it's not like in other sports where the first and the second are close together, or even sometimes that happens in Formula 1. This year that's clearly not the case, and we can't hold Ferrari to McLaren standards. Now that doesn't mean that this is just an excuse for Hamilton to not perform. I expect a lot better out of him, and I think he's not delivering. And as a fan, I expect to see better out of him and not just go out to the media and say, I suck, I should be replaced. Now, being self-critical is not a problem, but what he should do now is follow it by actions. He should at the very least improve a lot during the actual Hungarian GP, move up through the ranks like he's done in previous races, and little by little get used and accustomed to this Ferrari team. It takes time, I know it does, because like I said from the beginning, this is a completely different culture. But I expect more out of Lewis because I know he can deliver. He is an awesome driver. That's my thoughts on this topic. I want to see your opinion now down below in the comments. As always, let me know your thoughts. I'll be reading them and answering like I always do. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you can click right here to subscribe to this channel. And you can click right here to watch the next video that I created just for you. Until next time, bye.